spirit of China. You know, when our TV station decided to create this series, we wanted to showcase stories about Chinese Americans.
So we set out to visit Chinatowns across the country, and this became a real history lesson for us, learning the challenges they faced coming here to America. We walked through Chinatowns across America, spending time in New York City.
This is where the city was born.
San Francisco.
Well, San Francisco was first. 1848-49, there were already a lot of Chinese here.
And Chicago.
So this is Chinatown mural. Really tells you the history of Chinese Americans coming to the U.S.
Immigrating to the United States in the 1800s during the California Gold Rush, helping build the Transcontinental Railroad, all before the U.S. passed the Chinese Exclusion Act.
The Chinese were the first group identified to be excluded in American life. 1882, if you're a laborer, you can't come. And if you're here, you cannot be a naturalized citizen. We were the first group.
Many Chinese already living here, like Sing Moy, requested permission to travel to China to bring his wife to America. The Exclusion Act was repealed in 1943. Chinese Americans have long fought for the United States military, their names immortalized in Chicago's Chinatown. George Moy, honored with the Congressional Medal of Honor, and Private First Class June gave his life during World War II.
He threw himself on top of a hand grenade, sacrificed himself to save his own squadron. These are the type of stories that we really need the general public to know of our contribution. These are our stories.
Some of the businesses are now run by the children of immigrants. Joanne's father-in-law immigrated from China in 1971 and opened Pearl River Market in New York City.
They were student activists, and they wanted to create this bridge in their new home in the United States to kind of in their small way affect geopolitics, which at the time, relations with China were frozen. And we've come so far in those 50 years.
Older Chinese Americans featured for their fashion style in the book Chinatown Pretty shared their immigration stories with the authors.
There's so much resilience. That's a big part of what we celebrate is, a lot of these senior citizens have experienced warfare in real ways. They've had to immigrate to a new country where they didn't know the language while raising families, while working multiple jobs.
The pandemic has been another challenge for Chinese Americans. Asian hate crime soared. Shops and restaurants in Chinatowns across the country were crippled when tourists stopped visiting. Efforts are now underway to remind people these are Americans with an Asian heritage.
Chinatowns tell the story of America. We are a land of immigrants.
Those who've been coming to the United States for generations, and those who still view America as the land of opportunity.
Chinatown truly belongs to America. This was, it still is, your launching pad to pursue the American dream of a better life.
Oh, Scott, you talked to so many different people in that story. What really sticks out to you?
I think three things. First, it being in San Francisco and learning how this Chinese Exclusion Act back in 1882 prevented Chinese immigrants from becoming naturalized citizens in the United States. Then being in Chicago and seeing all the names of those 700 Chinese Americans who fought for our country. And then in New York, author Grace Young saying, look, Chinatowns tell the story of America, because we are a land of immigrants. Those are probably the three things that I remember from my travels.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for sharing what you've learned with us.